a surefire way to feel stable, no matter how off kilter, unbalanced, unstable, destabilized you feel. We're gonna walk through this. Uh, you know, when you feel unstable, when you just have that, I don't feel stable. Something has come into your world that has destabilized you, and it could be anything from receiving a text from someone that you didn't care to receive it from, or uh, news that is unhappy news, or anything, somebody that somebody passes, or because there's look at it as two types of destabilization. There's the destabilization where your life changes, something happens, something big happens, and other destabilization where it's something like a text, or that you don't care to receive, or you see someone in the store that you would prefer not to have seen, or said something to somebody, and so you don't feel good about that. And so these are the so just to get a sense of feeling destabilized. First of all, it is not our normal. Uh, it's not our normal mode. We don't feel comfortable when we feel destabilized, and so the first thing to do is look and say, what's the source? Is this internal or external? And what I mean by that is, and by the way, what I'm looking at is something that I created. It's just so messy. So, but I just created it and put all my notes and everything on here. And it's just basically shows you the graph, how it's going to work, and it's probably backwards for you. I don't know, but so I'm just going. I feel unstable, and then what's the source? Is it internal, external? And so we're just going to follow the lines here, and I'll just read through them for you. But external or internal? External are people, roles, situations. These things are fragile. What do I mean by fragile? They can disappear. Um, Steve, my husband, he passed now 17 months ago, and that was very destabilizing. That I placed my stability in that man for 35 years, a lot of my stability, and all of a sudden, when I didn't have him to share things with, to go to with challenges in my life, or anything, his thoughts, his ideas for traveling together, it's been a very destabilizing process for me. It's fragile. Placing your stability in someone else, in a situation, in a job, all of that can change. So that's external. Internal are your values, your programs, your mental programs. What are you running? Your internal motivators. So your beliefs, your identity. Those are things that are stable, and they cannot be taken away from you. So when you have something external, here's a shift prompt, a prompt for you to get back to stability. This was outside of me. That was outside of me, that stability. I return to my internal anchors. Your internal anchors would be your values, your mental programs that you choose of living a quality life. Those things, those internal motivators, those things they can't be taken away from you. Now you can change those. You can rewire those in your brain, like your programs. You can rewire those programs to programs that you choose that are upgraded or different. But we're not talking about that right now. We're just talking about the stability versus not stable. So the bridge from whether it be internal or external, the source, whatever that is that's creating the destability, is self-talk. That is one that I have always that your self-talk, what you say when you talk to yourself. What are you saying? Are you encouraging yourself? Are you saying, I got this? Are you saying, man, everything happens to me. If I didn't have good luck, I'd have no bad luck. I'd have no luck at all. I like that, if I didn't have good luck. But, that's, what is your self-talk saying? Like, these things always happen to me. I'm never on time. I'm never lucky. I never win anything. Or these kinds of things always happen to me. They don't happen to anyone else, but they always happen to me. I always get all the red lights and traffic. By the way, you're creating those things by your self-talk. Your self-talk is attracting wherever you vibrate, wherever your frequency is. Your self-talk is directing that energy. But again, that's beside the point. The self-talk, it rewires instability to sovereignty. So when you wire your brain of what you can do and what can be done, you are then empowered. You are coming from an empowered place. And one of the things that I haven't said, and I'm trying to make this as simple as possible, but feeling unstable, what is the source? What is it? A person, a place, or a thing, a role, or something where you are outsourcing your stability? That person should make you feel stable. A boyfriend, a girlfriend, a daughter, a parent, a friend. Like, you go to them and you're looking for your stability. A job, wherever you work, or and then maybe the business goes bankrupt or something like that. That, look for that. Is that where you're looking for? Are you looking for somebody to affirm you, uplift you, tell you you're okay? That is external stability. You're looking outside of you for that. And you'll never find lasting stability if that's what you're doing, because those things are fragile. They could disappear. And the internal stability, your values, your self-talk, what you say when you talk to yourself, your belief, your inner authority, that you trust yourself, like that I believe in myself, I trust myself, I got this, I can do this. That you can always come back to. Even in the most chaotic times, you can bring that. Now we're going to go to the PDF that I talk about all the time, that you can download for free, and that PDF is the stability spiral. The stability spiral shows that you are now aware. So now we're talking about the internal stability, and we're actually going to the programmed reactor. The programmed reactor is the one that spirals down. That's the spiral down. And then the internal operator is the state that spirals up. So we want to come from an empowered, if you would like to come from an empowered position, then the internal operator is the position, that the state that you would want to be in. And that is being aware that you're starting to spiral. You're starting to feel out of control. You're starting to feel overwhelmed. You're starting to feel intense, some emotion that is taking you down a path that you would prefer not to take, that's very uncomfortable. Things like grief, by the way, to feel those, to suppress is never the way to find success, because it will always come out. So the issues are in your tissues, and they really are. All kinds of dis-ease and other things, when people suppress their emotions or feelings or anything, it will come out at some point. It has to come out, or it will. It will come out. So how it will manifest, who knows how it will manifest. So the whole thing is to then be aware. So like grief or something, feeling sad or anything, go ahead and feel those. Like, it's not I'm giving you permission. It's like I'm highly encouraging you. If I wouldn't have felt the grief, and if I didn't still move through the grief. It seems like year 2, this is the second year since Steve is gone. It almost seems like it's much more challenging at times. I don't have that where I would just fall to my knees like and just have that intense pain. I haven't had that, but I have very visceral feelings of missing him that just like tears will spring to my eyes. And I allow that to happen. I don't care for it because then I actually feel the separation that doesn't really exist, but he's on another plane. I'm moving into the spiritual as well. Yet letting that move through your body and celebrating that, and I go immediately to celebrating Steve, that he's in a place that he's happy and all of that. And so that helps me to move through that, and I don't disregard it, and I don't push it down, and I don't, I totally honor it. So I'm not talking about that when you feel that it's like to move through those feelings are really important. So yet the identity, we're back to the internal stability sources. When the PDF that I was talking about, when you pause, you recognize that you're spiraling. Okay, you're spiraling down, and so if you're feeling the feelings, let the feelings flow, and then that pause is your power. So again, we're in the stability spiral, and then microstabilities. So a microstability for me with Steve is celebrating the man, celebrating our how many years we had, 35 years together, and all the years that we RV'd and traveled, and how happy I am that he's not in any pain, and all the things. I celebrate that, and that's a microstability. That helps me to gain some capacity and even smile sometimes. So it helps me gain a little capacity back rather than being in that spiral down of the overwhelm or the immense grief or the feeling. Just, I guess it's just overwhelm at that point. But there's many other feelings that there could be fear, there could be all kinds of other feelings that besides. I'm just using this as an example, using my experience, and how using that the stability spiral to find peace in the midst of chaos. And so that is getting a little capacity, like celebrating Steve, or taking a vagal breath where you're breathing in less and breathing out longer. So the in breath is say 4 and the out breath say 6. And you do that maybe 3 times. So you start stabilizing the nervous system. This is all about the nervous system, because once the mind gets involved, the stories start, and we see pictures in our mind, and we start thinking things, and that, why is this person calling me, or I don't want to answer the phone because I could be fired, or in anything at all. Like he might want a divorce, she's leaving me, anything that is any change at all. And this is where you come from an empowered versus disempowered position by becoming aware, creating a microstability, or stacking those microstabilities. You do 2, 3, 4, however many that you need. And then that creates the capacity, which then creates clarity. You have more clarity around what's happening, and then you have choice. You always have choice, but where's your choice coming from? Is it coming from a dysregulated nervous system, or is it coming from a regulated nervous system where now your brain is intact and you're not in survival mode? So therefore you're making good decisions. So it's a quality choice, making a quality decision. So stability moments is not about solving, that Steve died as my husband. I can't bring him back. A career ends, or a child moves out, and now you're an empty nester and it just feels lonely. And it's like, now what? You know, you've been being a mother or a parent all this time, and now all of a sudden, now what? And so that's like a stability moment. And this is how, no matter what it is, you can literally find peace within the chaos, because you will find that the more that you practice this, the more that you go into you stabilize your nervous system and come from an empowered place rather than a disempowered position of being the programmed reactor with just going down into your programs that are negative, harmful, slow you down, stop you, sabotage you, all of that. And your nervous system is got all the cortisol and adrenaline flowing through your, so basically you're on chemicals that you can lose it. These are the things that will help you when you become aware of this and you start using this. Pretty soon your resilience, you start building it. And it's not really about resilience. It's really more about bouncing back more quickly. I can bounce back so quickly where it would have taken sometimes years long ago, years where I was really upset with a family member or somebody that I just didn't refuse to forgive, or for something that had happened, or you know, I still had thoughts about different things. I was hanging on to those attachment, so I was attached to those things, and so when that's another stability moment, literally when you figure out you're attached to something that is holding you back and sabotaging and stopping you from finding peace and happiness. But continuing on that path is to find, to let go, and to the more that you practice this stability spiral as not the programmed reactor, but the internal operator that is spiraling up and choosing to create capacity so that you have more clarity, and then you can come from a place of choice that is beneficial. It gets easier and easier. It does not mean that problems are immediately solved. It does not mean that things are not going to throw you a curveball. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that your lifing and chaos can become more peaceful, because all of a sudden it's not chaos. You recognize the spiral when it happens. You're spiraling down. You recognize that you're getting overwhelmed, or you're starting to feel like whatever it is, something that is taking you down, and you're feeling procrastination and you're frozen and you just can't move. Anything like that. Are you feeling comparitis, which leads you to overwhelm? Or you're looking at your list of all the things you have to get done, and you're starting to feel behind and like there's something wrong with you. And then all of a sudden there's all kinds of emotions. And so this is how the more that you practice this, the stronger you become, and the more quickly that, and this is the whole point of it, is stopping all the spiral from spiraling down, and then becoming the internal operator in that state. These are two states. They're not people. That a person will choose a state to just go ahead and allow the negative programming to just, and all the chemicals to just take them on the spiral, lose control, and or the program, the internal operator. So that state. And the more that you practice the state of the internal operator, the easier it becomes to bring it to your life, so that you now have peace in your life more than you have chaos. Because chaos is no longer what you would have called chaos, like what I would have called chaos 5 years ago. It's, and what I would call chaos today, it's like totally different. In fact, I rarely even use that word except on videos and stuff. I don't really feel or see chaos in my life. And but I did. so so there's this is how it works. This is how empowering this is, because you're actually placing yourself in a position to choose a state of mind where you become empowered rather than being something happens to you, rather than it's happening for you. And you literally are choosing a different way of being, a different state. So look, Happy Feather they got groomed yesterday, so they look a little better. So anyway, I thought I would share that with you today. And I that prompt, that the shifting, I want to go back to that, from how to like go from feeling unstable and seeing like what's the source. Is it external? Am I trying to find stability outside of myself to stabilize myself, or am I going internally with my values and my self-talk? And it's because that is lasting. The external is not lasting. It's very fragile. And when you depend on something or someone or any of that for your own stability to stay stabilized on planet Earth, you're looking for a chaotic ride at some point. And so I hope that's helpful for you. I love you so very, very much. So it is day 65 of 365. And I want to leave you with that prompt that I was just talking about to use inside. Is this was outside of me, like that is outside of me. I return to my internal anchors, and think about those anchors of your values of pausing and doing maybe even stacking some micro stabilities, the breath, putting your feet down on the ground, touching something to say, I'm safe right now. You just want to get your nervous system to where it feels safe. And that's really what you're doing, and stopping the chemical flow of adrenaline and cortisol so that you can stay in control. And it's not about being controlling and controlling everything. You're just taking control of you and coming from an empowered position. So again, I return to my internal anchors. This was outside of me. I return to my internal anchors. And your anchors are your internal motivators, your values, your self-talk, what you say when you talk to yourself. I love you so very, very much. You can do, be, change, have, create, become absolutely anything. I will see you tomorrow for day 66. As always, shining my light to brighten yours. See you tomorrow. Ciao.